Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health System's Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Joining me, someone very involved in my early athletic career, Greg Dud Harding. And just imagine in Bantam League, if you had Greg Harding on one side, we call him Dud, and we had Percy on the other side. Man, and look at your career now. They're going to honor you tonight. You're going to be in the Hall of Fame, but it didn't stop at Bantam League. It kept going and going and going. And just your thoughts about tonight, Greg?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank God for giving me this opportunity to be here tonight. And just basically, I'm ecstatic. It's something that basically you never dream of. And there's a lot of other athletes that could be here. But I'm here, and I'm thankful to be here, Martin.
Mm-hmm. Coach McGooey, I remember years ago, I think you told me or somebody told me that you went to Nichols as a wide receiver. Of course, I wouldn't have thought you would have gone as anything else. But they needed defensive players. So Coach McGooey took a liking to you. Then you became an All-American. I mean, he saw something, didn't he?
Well, you know, if you go back and think back, I did both ways in high school. I played both wide receiver and defensive back. And he saw something at a young age, and he told me, which I didn't believe it at the time, that I was going to break the record, the career interception record up there, and that was held by, can't think his name right now.
Gary Barbaro.
Gary Barbaro, and at that time he was all-pro in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs. You're right.
He took one, I think, 109 yards for a touchdown back with the Chiefs. And I used to follow you, and then of course you were getting tryouts with the Saints, and you played in Canada, and you did different things. And I'd always tell anybody who was around me, that was my Bantam League wide receiver right there. But when did you know you were a pretty good athlete?
I think my junior year, basically, when I thought that I was a pretty decent athlete, when I was doing things on both sides of the ball, on offense and also defense. But it all started back with Bantam League football. I mean, it started with you taking a liking to me, throwing me touchdown passes.
Well, it's easy to throw you touchdown pass and Will Percy on the other side. But I was telling Stan, and he didn't realize that you joined us in the booth a few times for high school football. So you've had a versatile career, haven't you?
Yeah, and that was very fun. But you guys fired me after the third episode. But, I mean, no, I'm just clowning. Yeah, it was fun. I don't mind doing anything to help out the community. That's just the type of person that I am, Martin.
Yeah. And just when the lights go on tonight and they call you up, is this sort of, I don't want to say the culmination, you're a young man, but this sure is a big piece of icing on the cake, isn't it?
Yes, I don't know how I'm going to respond. Right now I got chill bones thinking about it because, I mean, this is a great honor, and it's a good thing that that you guys are putting this program on, because you have a lot of great athletes that's in this area that really don't get the recognition. So I'm just glad to be in that number tonight.
And I was telling the Miles family, of course, we all were in track and field too together, but of course, high jump, me and you, but when you go to long jump and triple jump, there's Jesse. That was some pretty good competition.
Yes, I mean, Jesse Miles was a legend in his own time.
Yeah.
He made a name for himself. And, you know, when you go back and look at the athletes that we played ball against and ran track, we had some good athletes back in the days, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and you were a legend, too, and tonight they're going to honor you. So, Greg, congratulations. Well deserved.
Thank you, Martin.
Go have fun, brother.
I will.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
I grew up down in Stovall, Prince Collins, right by the high-rise building. I guess one of the hardest things for me was growing up, I was kind of like in that time of era where you had segregated and integrated schools. I went to all-black school up until second grade, and then I went to integrated school in third grade. So coming up, basically, we didn't play any organized sports besides baseball. And as I got a little older, I had to really sneak away to go play with the Rebels, with Martin Falls and Joe Waits and all those guys. Because you got to realize, we're talking about the early 70s, and it just was a few years before that basically integrated schools. So the race relationship really wasn't, I guess as a whole, wasn't that bad, but I never experienced anything on the team when it came down to anything dealing with race. I became more familiarized with football compared to baseball. Baseball, you need a bad glove and need a field to play on, you know. So football was something that we would call sandlot football. We'd go in the park, I think Scotland Street Park, and play like flag football, sometimes tackle football. They asked me a question back when I was in 8th or 9th grade. I said, well, you know what, I wanted to be a policeman, which I was at one time when I was at Nichols. I wanted to be a fireman, which I did become a fireman. And I think I said I wanted to be a professional athlete. I can't remember what sport it was. You know, the most memorable thing for me was that basically, you know, coming from a segregated school, being able to have white friends on the football team that was out there trying to accomplish the same goals. Carr, who is a council member of District 2, and my older brother, who is now deceased. Those guys would get me in the backyard and play on their knees, because at that time I was a little kid, and they would drill me and run, because they saw something in me that I didn't see. First year that was Terrebonne B. Of course, football is the first sports, and I started out playing football there. I started out actually playing wide receiver, you know, because I was tall, and then Paul Fitch, you know, which was an all-state baseball player, was the quarterback, and we kind of more like tag team on what me and Martin did, just take the ball and just throw it deep long, you know. And I did the high hurdle, low hurdles, which at the time was 180 lows, I think 110 highs. I used to do the high jump and also run the mile relay, and sometimes long jump and triple jump. I guess I was more a humble guy. I knew I was good, I just didn't realize how good I was until later on, more like my junior, senior year, when I started getting, you know, be recruited to go to the next level. The intention was to go to Baton Rouge and be a Southern Jaguar. So lo and behold, the Bayou Classic in New Orleans, Southern plays Grambling, Southern lose a game, the next day they fired the coach. So at that particular time, I said, well, you know what, I mean, they still was gonna honor the scholarship, but I was gonna be playing for a guy that really didn't actually recruit me. So at that particular time, I decided I need to go to Nichols and just let the chips fall where they may fall. I mean, looking at the success I had there at Nichols, I don't know if I could have been that successful in any other school. I think that in the long run, it was the best choice for me. Most people don't realize this, and I'm just gonna put that out there now, is that when Nichols signed me, they told me I'd never play defensive back again. So we're gonna put you on the wide receiver side, and actually, my first year, I played wide receiver. And middle part of my second year, they moved me to cornerback. You know, and I said, they called me in the office, and I said, well, I thought you guys said I wasn't gonna play defensive back. I said, no, well, the good thing about it, the more you can do, the better off you are. I said, okay. So I accepted. I was a little disappointed, but I accepted. And they put me at cornerback. And Coach Joe McGoey, who was my defensive back coach at the time, said that, I thought he was blowing smoke up my behind, to be honest with you. He said that you're gonna break, and at this particular time, Gary Barbaro was an all-pro with the Kansas City Chiefs. So you're gonna break his record. So I said, okay, all right, coach, whatever you say. So one day a scout from the Cowboys came in here, and Coach McGoey called me in there and said, listen, hey, this guy here is gonna break Gary Barbaro's record. And he shook my hand, he introduced himself to me. So from that point on, I think that second year, I think I had maybe 2 or 3 interceptions my sophomore year. I can't totally remember the number, but I think what helped me out was that I basically was a good reader on routes by being a wide receiver, so I knew the route trees. That 1980 year was just one of those years that I mean, it's like it was a magical year. And once I started intercepting balls like that, then it became harder because teams started throwing away from me. You know, after my junior year, my stock rose. Okay, Emerson Walls led the nation. I was second in the nation, and Ronnie Lott was third in the nation. Them guys were seniors, I was juniors. After my senior year, you know, I started having leg problems, my hamstrings. I just wasn't worried about the NFL. We talked to my brother, and I went and started working with the fire department. And what happened is that you're there 24 hours, so I would lift weights there, and I would do my running and my exercises, you know, over there. So I get a guy by the name of John Guagua, became my agent. The Houston Gamblers reached out to me. So actually I went there with them, and one of the scouts on the Saints, remember what I did at Nichols, and he reached out to me, called me down for a workout, and I mean, they signed me on the spot. It was a very, very big jump. I think what helped me out was that Bum Phillips allowed me to come and work out 4 days a week with the off training before the season started. Working out Monday through Thursday with the teams, lifting with them, learning the different defenses and stuff like that. I think I'd have been lost, but I kind of adjusted pretty quick. It was a numbers thing, but they didn't actually make you feel like it. I mean, I love playing for the Saints, right here in my backyard, right next door to Terrebonne Parish. My second year in New Orleans, I developed a hamstring problem down there. I had some other offers to stay in the NFL. But at that particular time, I decided, you know what, I think I need to maybe get away and try something different. I just get a call out the blue from a scout from Canada. I didn't even know anything about Canada. It's a beautiful city. It's a beautiful place to live, Canada. The only bad thing about it is that it gets so cold. It's harder playing there as a defensive back, mainly because the slot backs can run toward the line of scrimmage. The football field is 110 yards long. The end zones is 20 yards long, and the football field is about 15 yards wider. And every down, they're pretty much passing the ball.
Quarterback, demi-poids numéro 4, number 4, Greg Harding.
Is on the offense, is as good as anybody's. Oh, Ray Alexander went high for it. The good coverage provided by Greg Harding.
I had a lot of fun there. The people were very receptive to me, being from Louisiana, and all you had to say, New Orleans, so they say, Bourbon Street, and they can pretty much identify with, you know, who you are and where you was from.
And of course, the reliable Rocky DiPietro. So from their 28, Kerrigan comes out throwing. Just as well for him that the ball was underthrown, because Greg Harding would have been in the end zone going the other way, looking for Steve Stapler, was Kerrigan.
It was one of those moments that I had that I felt that maybe I could come back and try it again, but then I realized that it really wasn't for me. I just felt that Houma was my place, that actually I needed to be. I never really give it a second guess thought of moving somewhere else or living somewhere else. One of my best friends, Jerome Bargan, who's president of NAACP, and he said, man, listen, you'll be a good school board representative, you'll be good in the community. I get to some thought, and I jumped on board with it, and with 26, 27 years later, I'm still dealing with it. Coach TPR teams, boys and girls, because those individuals are our future. My mother is living. She's 88 years old, thank God for that. She's president of the Women's Day Association here in Terrebonne Parish, and she formed that situation. I have a total of 5 kids, 3 from previous, and my daughter Shakira went to Tulane University, played there, got her undergrad and also a master's at Tulane. And now this May she'll be getting her doctor's degree. And she was selected, she was one of 9 students that have been selected to go to Duke University to do her residency. My son Gregory is a senior at Turbine High. He's running track. He's playing football. He's finding his way through. He's getting a couple of looks at. He hasn't got in office yet, but he's getting a couple of looks and couple of inquiries from teams. My wife Sharon Pico Harding, she's the controller. I mean, I just go out and make it happen. She makes sure that everything is organized, pretty much put together. She taught school for about 7-8 years. And then she's a counselor, a private counselor with dealing with kids that having behavior problems. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with the accomplishment that I have done. And like I said earlier, maybe my pro career probably could have been better. That's the way it goes. Some things you can control, some things that you cannot control. I've had a ton of coaches that basically, pretty much helped me along the way to get to where I'm actually at. And each one of them brought something different. My career might not have been the way I wanted to have been. I would have liked to have played maybe 10, 15 years. But I knew at that particular time that I've accomplished what I set out to accomplish, which going back and look at the percentage, you're talking about maybe, 2-3% of college guys even make it. So I'll beat the odds.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
First of all, I would like to thank God for giving me this opportunity to be able to accept this award tonight. Without him, this would not be possible. I also would like to thank my mother for all the prayers that she had given me. Thank you, Mother. And my family, especially my two older brothers, Lawrence, who is now deceased, and Carl Harding, Councilman of District 2. We started playing football in our backyard. They would be on their knees playing with me. My best friend, Jerome Barking, of the NAACP, for coming to all my games as a kid in high school and supporting me throughout my school board elections. My best teammate, Fred Stadium, for not getting mad at me for not catching most of the touchdown passes that Paul Fish threw to me. I would like to thank Mr. Bobby Arsenault and Troy Johnson for nominating me, and the committee for selecting me. All my teammates and coaches over the years. Stan, what a great job you did with the documentary there. I couldn't say any more about that. Thank you for that. My wife, Sharon Harding, for understanding my business schedule and the role that I play in our community. For all the early and late phone calls I get, trips I take, and meetings that I attend, and trying to solve other people's problems, I love you for that. And my last two kids for putting up my dictatorship. But for one of them, it paid off. I've always wanted them to have a better life than what I had. She is now, I can say, I'm trying to figure out, should I call her Shakira Harding, or should I call her Dr. Shakira Harding? She just graduated from Tulane a couple weeks ago. LSU, I'm sorry, I apologize, LSU. Got that mixed up. Did I say Tulane? Well, she attended Tulane for undergrad. Okay, thank you, daughter. I'm a little nervous. And also Gregory Harding Jr. for having my last name. I came from a long ways. My grandparents could not read nor write. My mother had to quit school in the 8th grade to go to work in the cane field, but later went back to finish up. This has been a tremendous journey for me. My first 2 years in school was at Southside Elementary. At that time, it was an all-black school. So as a young kid growing up, I was wondering why it was like that. All the white kids was at one school, and we was at another. And that we had to drink from an all-color water fountain. Once I became a little older, I understood why. I never did feel that we were poor or hurting for anything. I guess my parents helped us out with that. I do not harbor any anger or any ill feelings toward no one. But along the way, I did find out by playing sports that it did not matter the color of your skin or whether you was a Democrat, a Republican, or rich or poor. It was all about the team playing together. Also, I started to realize that maybe I could make new friends by playing sports. So I signed up to play football. My parents didn't know I was playing. I could not remember who signed me up. It might have been Lawrence Carr. So over the years, I have played with a ton of people. So the first friend I made was Martin Foss. Yes, it was Martin Foss, the same Martin Foss that's here. We hit it off for the first day. I cannot remember how many touchdown passes he threw me, but I bet you the most of them, we made them up in the huddle. He would change the plays and say, "Duck, go long." Thank you, Martin. I did not know whether you liked me or not, but I would catch all your passes anyway. Joking, Martin. I have so much to say in such a short time. I have been blessed to have been able to make some money and enjoy what I have accomplished. Serving on the school board for 25 years, 3 of those years as president, and 3 more as vice president, serving as vice president of the NAACP, and working for the Recreation Department. Being in a position to help our youth in our community. I do not know what the next chapter would be in my life, but I will face it head on. Again, thank each and every one of you, and may God bless.
All right, more to come. A lot more inductees in the Hall of Fame here at the Columns, so don't go away. Don't touch the dial. Don't switch off of Facebook or YouTube. You're going to recognize a lot of these names.